to those two commitments that are in our agreement, can you point to the dollars that fulfill those commitments? Are they both in the, do they come out of the closure account, or do they come out of the operating account?
Okay. Which page are you on? Let me get...
4511.
Okay.
I don't have a page. I have the section 9, or the schedule 9.
Okay. Probably don't have that one right with me, so...
But we have a legal commitment to $100,000 for post-closure maintenance.
Okay.
We also have a commitment for $186,000 for corrective action. We have to make those during a 30-year period, which started back in 04, 05, somewhere in there. Where are we making those commitments? What funds are used to make those commitments?
That fund, that's the 7% of the franchise fee goes into 4511 to accumulate, to do some ongoing maintenance as it occurs, and also accumulate money for the eventual large projects.
I'm separating the two.
Okay.
I'm separating out the eventual closure stuff.
Okay.
I'm looking for where you can show me in the budget where we're meeting those two requirements, because that adds up to 286. We draw in 580. Now I know there's some other activities that come out of that as well. I'm looking for a balanced number, and that whatever that difference is. And I know that that's what we would normally put towards the big closures, but that's the part that I'm entertaining a suspension of for this year in order to meet some of these other requirements. So, but I don't know what that number is.
Well, last year, I do have numbers for last year. We had a expense in 4511 of $189,000. A good amount of that was the monitoring and the report to the state. We also had again, another failure, much smaller, up at Laytonville, of the capping fill that we had to repair. So that's what it was last year, and I think our projection this year is 208, and you usually put your budget together on an average. It could be different depending on what kind of winter we have, really.
Right. Well, the amounts have fluctuated over the years. We've gone from 518 to 182, so right. I'm just trying to find that number, and I haven't been able to find that answer.
Well, it would be in other words, you're looking for what we would need in any given year.
I'm looking for the excess above and beyond our commitments that are in this agreement that goes into the landfill closure account.
Well, it would be anything for this year, the projection, anything above 208 would be excess that we wouldn't specifically need in this coming year, but we'll need when we do the full closure.
Now, I don't think is accurate, because it's 286,000 that were committed, and you had other activities that you're funding that are included in that 208. So there's another number somewhere that I can't get my hands on.
Yeah, and I don't have it right off either. Deputy Director Miller's not here. I gave him a couple weeks off to spend with his son who's on leave from Iraq, so I thought that was pretty important. But so he's not here, and
maybe Mr.
I don't know, maybe Mr. Kaler from his history.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Thanks,
I didn't
Paul.
do 40. Paul Kaler, Deputy Chief Executive Officer. I used to do the budgeting for 4511, and what Howard said is absolutely correct. What is taken in from revenue from the franchise fees, which is set on 7% of the gross adjusted revenue under the exclusive franchise collection agreements. Anything that is not spent for ongoing maintenance at the sites on an annual basis, and that includes cap repairs, leachate hauling, groundwater monitoring, monitoring well maintenance, professional engineers to prepare the monitoring reports. Anything in excess goes into the landfill closure trust fund, which is a sinking fund to build for these very expensive final capping projects, and in Laytonville, a remediation to the cap, because what is happening is the side slopes at the Laytonville landfill are not performing the way the original engineer designed them. So whatever that excess is then gets put into the sinking fund in 4511. So you know, I'm not familiar with exactly what the projected revenue was from the franchise fees this year, but if there is an excess, then it gets placed into that sinking fund.
Okay, then I can,
And then keep in mind, what is in the pledge of revenue is what we thought were the 30-year averages for post-closure maintenance and corrective action over what the engineer looked at in, you know, I think these estimates were put together and updated in 2003. They did their best to look at their crystal ball over 30 years and say, over the 30-year period, you're going to have to set aside what we think is $100,000 for your pledge of revenue for post-closure maintenance, and what we think is going to be 186 for your corrective action. Keep in mind, Casper is under corrective action. You have only done your final closure there, but the water board considers you under corrective action because the site is continuing to leak. Any one of these sites could fall under corrective action at any time. So this is just the engineer's best estimate of what they call, what do they call it? Greatest foreseeable release. So it really is, they look at the geology and they make a guess. So,
that expenditure of 208 meets to a degree those requirements then. It fulfills partially that commitment.